Hi, I'm Bo. Welcome back to Books Like Fun. Today we're going to review The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I'm going to use the CAWPILE rating system for this today. I'm going to change the CAWPILE rating a little bit for my needs. I know a lot of people do a out of 10 rating. I'm just going to do out of 5 and then average those out for the final rating. 18-year-old Belle has lived her whole life in the shadow of her mom's mysterious disappearance. 16 years ago, Rachel Price vanished and young Belle was the only witness, but she has no memory of it. Rachel is gone, long presumed dead, and Belle wishes everyone would just move on. But the case is dragged up from the past when the Price family agree to a true crime documentary. Belle can't wait for filming to end, for life to go back to normal. And then the impossible happens. Rachel Price reappears, and life will never be normal again. Rachel has an unbelievable story about what happened to her. Unbelievable because Belle isn't sure it's real. If Rachel is lying, then where has she been all this time? And could she be dangerous? With the cameras still rolling, Belle must uncover the truth about her mother and find out why Rachel Price really came back from the dead. I'm going to use the CAWPILE rating system for this. The first category is characters. Belle is our main character. She's 18. She seems like she doesn't want to be anything like her missing mom. Whenever anyone compares her to her mom, she doesn't like it. She keeps saying that she wishes she looked more like her dad or had the Price eyes. Their last name is Price. And she has a thing about stealing things throughout the book. She'll swipe little things here and there, sometimes from stores, sometimes from other people. She stole a little chess piece from the filming crew who's filming the documentary that she's in. And she tends to push people away before they can leave her. She thinks everybody is going to leave her except her dad, because her dad has always been there for her even after her mom disappeared. Charlie is Belle's dad, and Belle says that they don't fight. Whenever they start to argue, he says he's just going to leave and let everybody have a chance to calm down. And Belle doesn't like when he does that, so she doesn't argue with him. Rachel is Belle's mom. She was taken 16 years ago and then reappears, and everyone's trying to figure out where she was and how she was able to come back. Rachel's mom is a little weird, and I'm going to try not to spoil anything while I'm doing this review, but Rachel's mom lies about certain things. We know that she lies about certain things because there's some things that we as the audience know that Rachel will say something different. For example, the summary of the book tells us that she's been gone for 16 years, but sometimes she'll say 15 years instead. It takes a long time for us to figure out why she's lying about these things. Some other characters are Carter, which is Belle's cousin, and Carter's parents. And Carter doesn't seem to have a good relationship with her parents. And then there's also grandparents. We have Charlie's dad, Grandpa, and we have Rachel's mom, Grandma. So I gave the characters 4 stars. I really liked the characters. There's also the film crew, and I really liked some of the film crew too. The next category is atmosphere and setting, and we don't know a whole lot about the setting. We know they're in New Hampshire. They mention it's bear season a lot, but I would like to know more about their town other than it's New Hampshire and it's bear season. We also learn a little bit about the police and that they're not very good at their job. The police in this town are very frustrating. There's also a nosy neighbor that lives across the street in this town. I wish I knew more about the setting in general. So I gave setting 3 stars. The next category is writing style. I really enjoyed the writing style. I would have expected this book to be told in first person, but it's not. It's told in third person limited, and we only get to know what Belle is thinking. Some of the beginning part was a little slow, and some of the end part was a little slow and repetitive, but overall I really enjoyed the writing style, and it's a pretty quick read. It's over 400 pages, but it didn't take me too long to read it. So I gave writing style 4 stars. The next category is plot. And there's a few things in the story that I didn't quite like and didn't quite agree with. Rachel, for example, kept saying wrong things, like I mentioned earlier, 15 years instead of 16 years. So it doesn't make sense for a really long time why she says that. She also keeps calling Belle Anna. Her full name is Annabelle, and she called her Anna when she was a baby. Belle was 2 when Rachel was taken. I get that she's used to calling her Anna, but I feel like it shouldn't be that difficult for her to start calling her Belle. So it seems like Rachel's up to something for much of this book. I don't know if the author used those things to just let the audience know that something wasn't quite right, but I'm not sure I would have trusted Rachel from the beginning, even if she didn't have these discrepancies. There's a lot of things in the plot that I didn't agree with. I would have changed a lot of the things that the characters chose to do. The decisions that some of these characters made were really stupid, and I guess it makes sense with the plot. You'll have to read it to see all of these decisions, but much of it would not work in real life. In real life, real people would have had to make drastically different decisions in these situations. And I know it's a book and I have to suspend my disbelief, but overall, I liked it. I understand why things happened the way they did, so I gave the plot section 4 stars. The next section is intrigue, and I thought this book was very intriguing. My biggest question throughout this book was, why was she really gone? I continued to have more and more questions as the book went on. How did she get out? Things like that. There were so many twists and turns in this book, I didn't see any of them coming. The way I thought it was gonna end isn't how it ended. So the twists were a surprise to me, total surprise. And I really like when twists are a surprise. I don't want to be able to guess what's going on. So I gave the intrigue section 4 stars. The next section is logic and relationships. I had a lot of problems with the logic of this story and the relationships between the characters. For example, Charlie was paid $40,000 for the documentary, and that doesn't seem like a lot. I don't know what people are paid normally for documentaries. I've never been in a documentary. So if anyone out there has ever been in a documentary, tell me if this is realistic. I don't know. I feel like with how big the Rachel Price mystery was in that town, they should have been able to get more than that. Some of the relationships between the characters bothered me, like Carter's relationship with her parents was not a good relationship. She didn't seem very attached to her parents at all, and I would have thought that she would have cared a little bit more about them, and I would have thought that her parents would have cared a little bit more about her. I also wish Rachel's mom had a bigger part in the story. We see her a couple of times. She comes in for an interview at the beginning for the documentary. They have a family dinner that she's a part of, but after most of the rising action and after the climax, we don't hear from Rachel's mom again. I would love to know how Rachel's mom feels about how everything ended. So I gave the logic and relationships section 3 stars. And the last section is enjoyment. I really enjoyed this book. I plan to read more by this author. I have Good Girl's Guide to Murder already on my shelf, and I can't wait to read that one. So I gave enjoyment 4 stars. So if I average out my ratings from all 7 categories of the CAWPILE rating system, I get 3.7 stars. When I put this into Goodreads, I'll probably bump that up to 4 since Goodreads doesn't do partial stars. Next, I want to talk about my favorite quotes. I only wrote down 1 quote from this book that was one of my favorites. And this is after Belle put a scrunchie in her drawer. This was just a fun quote. She got into bed, making eye contact with the book waiting for her on top of the nightstand. The plot hadn't really got going yet, a lot of backstory, but something exciting was going to happen soon. It had to. The title promised it. That was on page 45. And I wrote down that quote because it was just like this book. There was a lot of backstory so far and nothing exciting had happened yet. So we were still waiting for the excitement to happen. And that quote just stuck out to me as funny. And I would totally recommend this book to anyone who loves mysteries. It's hard doing a spoiler-free review because there's so much that I want to say about this book, and there's so many things that I want to talk about, but I don't want to spoil it for those who haven't read it yet. So if you like mysteries, this is the book for you. Lots of mystery in there, lots of intrigue, lots of twists and turns. Let me know if you've read it in the comments. Let me know if you plan to read it in the comments. And if you want to see more of my videos, click whatever video shows up right there. See you next time. Bye.